Well, I'm sitting here in my Tesla Model 3 and I'm looking down at my newly installed center console wrap. But if you watched my first video, you'd know this was not my first attempt. Alright, so here's the packaging. I of course cut the tape here to make this process a lot easier. Just kind of pull this out, see if there's anything else. Yeah, they're card. Alright, so we're not going to need that. That's pretty much everything in there. Let's see here. It says water installation required. Do not install without water solution. Please watch their video. And this is the Model 3 center console wrap matte black. That's what this says on there. Go ahead and take this tape off and see what we've got in here. So one of the things, of course, they've got in here is the water solution, the dreaded water solution that I'm so worried about because I don't want to use all that water. There's my receipt. Here's the squeegee and this is just a cleaning package. So to clean the center console before I actually start applying this on here. So we'll kind of put that aside. And again, this is pretty much it. This is the simple solution. This is what, oh yeah, there it is. This is for the cup holder. You can't really see it too clearly, but there are some cutouts there that they cut out the material. And one thing you'll notice is this is the matte black color. Now, there's a reason why it's not the matte black color to begin with, because this is the material called Expel, which is what they use for the exterior for car wraps. So what you're doing is you're using this material for your center console. It's supposed to be self-healing. You're not supposed to worry about get scratches, all that good stuff. So when you put it on, once you have that finished product, then it gets that matte black look to it. So it'll be interesting to kind of put this on and see the process. So that is what this is. That's the unboxing, if you will, of the RPM Tesla matte black center console wrap for the Tesla Model 3. I will go ahead and we'll bring this into the car and we will kind of go from there. All right, before I install the Expel product, I did want to do a quick update and follow up on the scratching issue that Kenrico has, or at least I have with my batch, is that someone had mentioned taking a hairdryer to it. And I did. I took a hairdryer to it to kind of warm it up a bit, and it healed a little bit, but as you can see here, we're still looking at some scratches. So actually from a distance, and it's not just the camera that's masking it, but even from where I'm sitting here not looking through the camera, it doesn't look that bad. You really have to look closely to see the scratches. So, you know, every time I get in the car, I always go, man, that looks nice. It really is a nice color. It ties in well with the overall look of the car. So the matte black, I'm really happy with that overall look. But again, I'm just not too happy with those scratches there. And I also noticed a few more scratches on the cup holder. That's where it takes a beating. This is where people are, you know, trying to put cups in there. So it will take a bit of a beating here. And the upper portion, no scratches there because this is typically up because I usually have my phone in there, and so this is usually up. This is up probably 75% of the time, so this isn't going to run to any scratches. There's not a lot of traffic going through there, if you will, so it's not going to create any scratches. So and then someone had mentioned this too, and I did mention in the video, the first video, this bare spot right here, and someone said, well, it's a bit of a trapezoid shape, so you should have put it on a different way. Well, as I mentioned in the first video, I tried it all 4 ways and it came up short in some shape or form. So it was cut improperly, I think, by Kenrico. Now, I've read in the reviews that people have run into this problem before, and Kenrico will then send them a new one free of charge, and then they have no issues. So there you have it. That is just kind of a quick follow-up on that. I am going to take this off, this centerpiece off, and then I'm going to put the Expel product on, and then a really cool thing that I'm going to be able to do here is compare the two. Compare the Kenrico matte black to that of the RPM Tesla matte black center console wrap. Okay, here we go. We'll see how this process goes, see how easy it is. So again, here is the Kenrico product that I'm attempting to peel off. See how difficult this is. Actually, not that hard at all. Go ahead and take this corner off here. Pardon the mess over here. I'll get everything ready to go to get the RPM Tesla product on. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Simple enough. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Very easy to take off. All right, it's off, and it didn't leave any residue on there actually. So that's kind of the look. I mean, kind of get a nice perspective here. Here's the original console for the Tesla Model 3, the shiny look. Of course, right above that is the matte black. Let's get going on this. So that actually didn't take very long. The process wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Yes, there's a lot of water. As you can see, I've got like towels here. I've got them on my lap. I've got on the steering wheel. I've got towels all in here. I've got towels on either side just to kind of help protect from the water. So, you know, I'm not as concerned about the water at this point as I was earlier. So as you can see, I'm gonna have to kind of get it out of the glare here so you can really get a better perspective. There's a difference, definitely a difference here when I'm looking at this matte black compared to the Expel matte black, the RPM Tesla matte black. There's definitely a difference there. Is it a difference that I'm unhappy with? No, they're just different looks. You still have a matte black. This is actually more of a kind of a richer matte black look than this one. This has a kind of a smoother feel to it. It's a little bit more shiny. And so I like it. I can't say that I'm unhappy with it. I like them both actually. They both look good, but they both look good in their own way. So overall, when you compare the two, I'm not unhappy with it. Everyone's gonna have their own opinions, right? I know that. You're gonna write there in your comments, I hate it, I hate the RPM Tesla one. That's great. If you don't like it, you know, that's the beauty of this, right? You can look at the two right here and go, which one do I like better? And then from there, you can order the one you want. But again, keep in mind, with the Kenrico, you're gonna be running into some problems with scratching, at least I did. So again, there's that quick comparison. I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the installation of the RPM Tesla Expel. I am finally done. It took me a little over an hour to install this, and it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So first of all, I want to address my hesitation in getting this product because I was concerned about the amount of water that was being used. First and foremost, I did everything I could to protect it. All the towels I have in the consoles, I had on either side of the console. I had a towel on the steering wheel and on me. There was just water everywhere. I didn't get any damage to the car. The car is fine. The water is just part of the process, and it's nothing to be concerned about. So if you're like me and you didn't buy the product because of the water that's part of the process, I'd say take that off the table. Nothing to worry about. However, that being said, the installation of the RPM product, this is the Expel product, the installation of this over the Kenrico product was definitely more difficult. And I would say that I would much rather install Kenrico just for the installation process itself. It was a lot easier. It felt like the material was a little bit more forgiving, and it allowed you to kind of peel up and kind of adjust it, move it around the cup holders. I ended up cutting any excess there, and then it all tacked down really nicely. As you saw, it came off really well, didn't leave any residue. So for that alone, for the installation process, I would much rather go with Kenrico. Now, with the overall durability and the overall look, I would actually much rather go with the Expel here. And I think it looks really nice, this matte look. Now, it does have a glossy feel to it. Again, as I mentioned, this is the product that they use to wrap cars. So it has a little bit more of a shiny look to it. It also has a much more smooth feel to it, like that of a car, because again, it goes on the exterior of a car. So it's not 100% fingerprint proof. You will get some fingerprints on there, but not nearly as susceptible as getting fingerprints as the original piano black that's underneath this. So overall, I'm really happy with the matte black look. I think it looks great. It ties in really nicely with that of the Tesla Model 3, so I'm very happy with that. So again, I am going to come back in 24 hours because some of the imperfections that are in here are expected to go away, and then we'll take a look and see how it looks tomorrow, and then I will give you my full review and we'll take it from there. Here we are 24 hours later, and as I got in the car this morning, I was pleasantly surprised. It looks a lot better than it did after installation. In fact, you may have noticed when I was recording yesterday a little bit of a concern in my voice. But now that I've given it some time to cure, for a lack of a better term, it really does look a lot better. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that this is still perfect. That corner piece that I mentioned yesterday, it does look a little better, but it still is a piece that needs to be replaced. And RPM Tesla indeed did confirm with me that they are going to send me a brand new centerpiece, and I'll be able to reinstall that if I want. And you can see here some of the imperfections. I just want to show some of those imperfections here. Number one, of course, that one, which is going to be easily replaceable. But I've got a few indentions in here. If you can kind of see it right here, there's one right there. We have a few kind of in the edges right here. And again, this is simply because when it comes to installing the Expel product, I'm not a professional. So this is the first time I've done it. And since this is the first time I've done it, I think I did a pretty good job. But still, I mean, there's a bit of an air bubble right here. Doesn't seem to want to go away. See that little white speck? Looks like a little white piece of dust, but it's not. It's actually a little air bubble that I can't get out. There are a couple of others over here, these little white specks. Those look like to be air bubbles that don't seem to want to come out. I've tried, but it doesn't seem to happen. The edge here doesn't look that great, but it's either up or down, so it's not like you're going to be looking at it on a regular basis. This one does look better, but that doesn't really matter because this is going to be replaced anyway with the new piece that RPM Tesla will be sending me. But that's just kind of looking at some of the blemishes. So is it perfect? No. Is it going to be perfect? Most likely not. If you install this on your own, it's not going to look perfect for most people, right? You might get lucky, but unless you're a professional installer, that's just not going to happen, especially with these pre-cut pieces. So that's just kind of my thought there. Now, another thing, let's kind of obvious here is this has a bit more of a glare, as you'll notice. You see here, it doesn't have, at least in my opinion, that true matte black look to it because it has that glare. You get that light on it and it shines. So if we kind of get that shine off, you see how it does have kind of that nice matte black look to it. I mean, same thing with anything else here. You kind of get that shine out of there and it has that nice matte black to it. So that's all about personal preference, right? I mean, if you like and don't mind that glare, don't mind that shine, and you want that shine, then you'll be happy with this. So again, the overall look of it, that's all about personal preference, and we'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about the installation process of this and kind of wrap things up and final thoughts. Many would argue that what I've just done here was probably not the most frugal thing to do. After all, once all is said and done, it cost me about $85 for everything. The Kenrico product was $30, and then of course the RPM product was $55. So even though it wasn't the most frugal thing to do, I thought this is a great opportunity to take my channel and to put it to the advantage of the subscribers and people watching this in general. That way you can do a side-by-side comparison between the two products and get an idea what it is you're looking for. So let's break it down for you between the two products, Kenrico and RPM Tesla's Expel product. Now they're both sold as matte black, but they both have their differences. So we'll start with Kenrico. Now Kenrico can be purchased on Amazon.com for about $30. And if you have a Prime account, you'll be able to get it to your door within 2 days. Now the overall installation process was not all that difficult. And one of the great things that Kenrico does is they give you a backup cup holder piece, because that tends to be the most difficult to install. So it's nice to know that when you're installing it, to have that peace of mind knowing you've got that backup piece. Now they don't give you a backup piece for the center or the upper portion of the center console, but it's not necessary because those are a lot easier to install. Now the overall finished product, once all is said and done, overall it really didn't look that bad. The matte black was a really nice rich look for the Tesla Model 3 console, but there were some imperfections in there. And you're going to run into that with any pre-cut product. Sometimes they're just not going to fit perfectly and you're going to run into some of those problems. Now another problem that I had was the scratching with the Kenrico product. Now there are other people who are saying they didn't have as many problems as I did with the scratching, and that if you take a hairdryer to it, it should self-heal. But I didn't seem to see any improvements, or at least a very big improvement, once I did take a hairdryer to it. Then you have RPM Tesla, which also sells a matte black center console, but they use a different material. It's from Expel, and Expel is an actual body wrap for cars and is very durable. Now the overall ordering process was different because you can't find it on Amazon.com. Rather, you have to order it from their website. They do have free shipping, but that comes at a cost because it took over a week before it came to my front door. Now the overall installation process was definitely a lot more difficult than that of Kenrico. First of all, it has a lot more steps to it. I had to make that soap water solution that you have to spray on the front and back of the product. You also have to spray it on the center console, and there's a lot of water involved in the process. But my overall concerns about using so much water were pretty much washed away after installing it. Because once I made sure I protected everything, put the towels in the console on either side of the console and other parts of the car, it really wasn't a problem and I didn't have any water damage. So if that's a concern for you, don't let that be something to be concerned about. So really what it comes down to is this. If you're looking for the best overall look and you don't want any imperfections in your center console wrap, the best thing for you to do is to take it to a professional. If you live in an area where you can do that, I would highly recommend it. It may cost a little bit more in the end, but it will be worth it, and you'll most likely be happy with the overall end product. Well, thank you all so much for watching. And before I sign off, of course, there are usually things that we ask you to do. If you like the video, to give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you like this channel, to subscribe to it. But there's usually that third thing that we asked you as well, and that was to use our referral code. Well, as many of you may or may not know, the Tesla referral program will come to an end February 1st. And as I mentioned in a video earlier, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone who had used my referral code. Up to this date, I've got 27 referrals. I was almost halfway to getting that Tesla Roadster. But unfortunately, I got into the game a little late, and good things, as you know, must come to an end. So, of course, there's still about a week before the Tesla referral program ends. And even though I most likely won't reach that goal, if you would still like to get 9 months, of course, if you haven't had a test drive of a Tesla in general, then you can get 9 months of free supercharging if you use my referral code. So if nothing else, that would be something to do if you're going to order your Tesla before February 1st. So once again, thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, stay positively charged.